think this world has lost its mind.
My son is gay. Gay. Very gay.
What's up, guys? This is Montre Bible, your metaphysical advisor. I do tarot readings and also a little few rants about what's going on in society. And I'm thinking about just putting more of those videos here on YouTube. If you want to see some of my tarot readings, you can always check me out on Instagram, where I'll just do a couple of short reads. And if you need something, I am there for you. But that's not what I'm talking about today. Today, I'm going to be talking about this little TikTok video. Of course, that's where I find all the crazy stuff of this woman calling her baby gay. I mean, the baby's only a few months old, but she's like, oh, my baby's gay, and her rationale behind it. So I'm gonna show you a clip of that video.
Baby is gay. Yeah, this is him. He's gay. I called up my dad and I said, hey, guess what? Your grandson, gay. Gay, gay, gay. My dad says you can't just say that your baby is gay before he gets a chance to tell us he's gay. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Straight people do it all the time. Little baby boy is born. Oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker. Little baby girl is born. Oh, you better lock her up when she turns 16. Clearly, people want their children to be straight. Well, my son is gay. Gay. Very gay.
My 2 cents on this. Kids don't have sexual orientation. Okay, and before you attack me, especially for those who are in the LGBT community, I'm bisexual. But here is my point. Here's my whole point around this. You can't have a sexual orientation if you have not been oriented sexually yet. Okay. Now, there are some exceptions. There are children who have been, molested or sexually abused early in life, which is very sad, but that's a whole different ball of wax. And they may have different sexual proclivities early than a normal child who has not been through a sexual abuse. That's 2 different situations. But if you have a child who's never been abused, at least sexually, they won't have any awareness of sexuality until they hit puberty. That's how most kids are. But as you can see in our society, they're trying to desensitize us. Here comes my dog every time I start talking. But they're trying to desensitize us to allow children to be more sexual earlier, whether you're exposing them to sexual content early on in age, on television, on the internet, or even now in government schools. They just want to expose children to sexual content or lessons earlier in their schooling than before. But here's my little thing, is that children in their own selves are very innocent. First 4 years, really, kids should be only with their inner circle, which is like their family. Second 4 years, they start meeting other kids, making friends, and getting an idea what the outside world is. So that's like from 4 years to 8. And they may have friends. I have friends who, would tell me, well, I've known I was gay all along. I would say to that you may have affections toward the same sex, but that's not sexual. Just having affections toward the same sex is not sexual. There's no 6-year-old or 5-year-old that's going to be like, I want to have sex with little Jimmy. And if he does, most likely he's been sexually abused. Now, it's okay to have affections toward the same sex and not be homosexual or bisexual or anything else. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Even with my own coming out, I had affections toward the same sex, but were they all somebody I wanted to live my life with, wanted to marry and all of that? No. These were just best friends. Sometimes you can be a fan of somebody. And that usually is the case with a lot of girls. They become fans of a female, and they're like, oh, she's so pretty, whatever. Does that mean she's lesbian? No. When we go into puberty and we start discovering our sexual urges, that's when the questions come. And teenagers are more apt to experiment sexually. But even then, even when you experiment, just because you experiment doesn't mean that that's your sexuality. Because most teens, I've worked with teenagers, and yes, caught they've been caught doing a few things that probably was not in their character or just trying to mess around, boys and girls. But when you see them later on in life, are they that? No, they're not living their life like that. So I think experimentation, being a teen, trying to figure out your body, trying to figure out what you want to do is a part of it. Some people don't get that chance and they do it later on in their 20s. As me, because of religious reasons, I had a lot of hangups and I was like, well, I don't want to participate in sex right now. What I got in my 20s, experimentation. I was an adult. I felt like, I could handle it. And, then I would say, okay, I'm bisexual. I like men and women. And, it's kind of a thing. Of course, you take that with a grain of salt. So some people are like, I don't think you have to have sex to identify that, but to identify as a sexual orientation, but you need to be at an age where you feel your sexual attractions. And children do not have sexual attraction. They're not even at the puberty age yet. So once they get at puberty age, and sometimes that starts earlier for some kids, and they start feeling, my body's doing different things when I'm around person A and is doing different things when I'm around person B. And they understand, well, that's sexual attraction and whether they want to act on it or not, But that's your sexual orientation. Your sexual preference is what you decide to do. So you could truly have someone whose sexual orientation is bisexual, but their sexual preference is heterosexual. I'm bisexual by sexual orientation because that's what I've been sexually oriented to do. You can't have a sexual orientation unless you have been oriented with sex, period, point blank. And I prefer guys, but I'm oriented with both, so I have no problem either or. Then you have pansexuals who will have sex with everybody. And whatever other categories of sexuality. I don't have time to go through them all. But my point is that you cannot define somebody's sexuality, especially with this video of this woman who's basically claiming her baby is gay. And her justification is that people assume that people are straight. Well, it's called heteronormative behavior. Heterosexuality is the norm, it's the default. Most people are heterosexual. I think it's safe for parents to think that their children are going to be some part of them. Since if your parents are heterosexual, heterosexual parents should assume that probably their kids are going to be heterosexual too. So I think it's safe to say, okay, if I have kids, they're probably going to be straight because that's just kind of how it is. It's nature. Only in nature do we have a small percentage of people who end up being a divergent of that, whether it's homosexual or bisexual or pansexual. Not many people are like that. Well, with this new generation, I mean, who knows? But like I said, I think that all has to do with how early sex is introduced into someone's life. I think it has a lot to do with it. How early sexual imagery is introduced to children. I didn't know a lot about sex early on in age. I thought kissing got girls pregnant. Strange enough, but I did. Until I went to sex education, and I got even more confused. Looking at the human anatomy, and realizing how many different things we have inside of us and how we work. But yeah, just another weird TikTok video of people making claims, making sexuality something trendy to do versus actually being something quite inherent. I mean, this is basically saying not only is she making it seem like sexuality is a choice, but it's her choice, and she can just claim her baby's gay. So I think it just really waters down any efforts people have made trying to get people to understand themselves, and it also sexualizes children, which is not good at all, because you're like, yay. So my point is, children do not have sexual orientation. Give them time to figure out one, their family, their body, on their own and with their own trusted circle, which is the parents. Um, and give them time to figure out their relationships with their friends and possibly romantic partners when they get into puberty age to see what they really want to do. Um, that's all I got to say on that. Leave me a comment on what you think about the TikTok video or any statements I have made. You don't have to agree, but I would like it if you hit that like button and leave me a comment, because if you don't do it, then who will? I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.